In today's episode of Pull or Purchase, we're talking about all of the Eeveelutions from Prismatic Eeveelutions. So, should you hunt for these Eeveelutions in packs or just buy the cards? First of all, here are all of the Eeveelution SIRs in the set. There are 9 in total. The most valuable Eeveelution is the Umbreon EX SIR, which is sitting at about $1,000 raw and $2,500 in a PSA 10. At the bottom is the EVEX SIR, which is about $130 raw and just under $500 in a PSA 10. Prismatic Eeveelutions is the most expensive set that's been released in a while, given that booster packs are about $11 each, even after reprints and 6 months from initial launch. Now let's talk about the pull rates. There are 32 special illustration rares in Prismatic Eeveelutions. With a general pull rate of 1 in 45 packs, there are 9 Eevee and Eeveelution SIRs in the set that you could potentially pull, which puts your specific pull rate for any one of these Eevee or Eeveelution SIRs at 1 in 160 packs. At $11 a pack, you're looking at spending $1,760 just to pull one of these. So is it worth it to try and pull these cards, or better to just buy them? Here are a few things to consider. Number 1, God packs. If you're not familiar with the terminology, there are arguably 2 kinds of God pack. There's a demigod pack, which will have at least 2 SIRs, if not 3. And then there's a true God pack, which has 9 SIRs and 1 Master Ball parallel in it. Now, I haven't seen it personally, but I think there is the possibility of getting an ace spec and then 2 SIRs as opposed to 3 SIRs flat. But I've only seen Marvin pull a demi, so I'm not really sure. I think we've all seen God packs pulled online or in person if you've pulled one yourself. But as far as the in-between goes, I'm not really sure what exists out there because I really don't think that enough Prismatic was opened to have a full roster of everything that exists in that set. To sum that all up, because I know that was a lot of words, a demigod pack is typically 3 SIRs. But who's to say there aren't other combinations of 3 hits out there? God packs completely change the game when it comes to your return on investment, because a demi or a God pack shoots the value of each pack up through the roof. A typical demi God pack with the 3 lowest valued SIRs in it would be worth about $50, and the lowest God pack you could possibly get would be worth around $300. By comparison, the most expensive demigod pack is about $1,600, and the most expensive God pack is about $3,000. There is some speculation that God packs pop up once every 2,000 packs. So by that logic, you'd spend about $22,000 just to pull a $3,000 pack right now. Secondly, the journey. As we've talked about in previous videos, ripping is a journey that one must embark upon to meet their goals. Not everybody is about the journey, and while there is a lot of great art in this set, it may not be worth the time it takes or the money to you to even go on this adventure. There are plenty of sets with great art that are a little more worth it, in my opinion. I like Journey Together and Destined Rivals more than I like Prismatic, although Prismatic is pretty. But for me, Prismatic is a lot of reprints, so I'd rather open Destined Rivals. Thirdly, parallel prints and ace specs. Depending on what you count as a hit, there are a lot of hits in Prismatic Eeveelutions. The Pokeballs, the Master Balls, the ace specs, in some cases they do count. They're just not as valuable as the SIRs, and not as desired either. This one really depends on what you count as a hit. Pokeball parallels are worth more than their reverse holo counterparts, and Master Balls are worth more than their Pokeball counterparts. The Pokeballs and the Master Balls are also a lot easier to pull than the SIRs, with the general pull rate of any Pokeball being 1 in 3 packs, and the Master Balls being 1 in 20 packs. On the other hand, ace specs are particularly useful in gameplay, but not particularly sought after by collectors. There are some like Prime Catcher that are very playable and therefore very valuable. But like I said, if you don't consider Pokeballs or ace specs to be true hits, then the Prismatic pull rates are pretty problematic. If it were up to me, I would rip to a certain extent and then buy the ones I didn't pull. But we pulled the demigod pack and there's really nothing else in Prismatic that I want, so I don't need to buy anything. Also, depending on how one feels about Pokeballs and ace specs, determines how the experience goes. Kids would love to open Prismatic just for the Pokeballs, but parents would not like to pay for Prismatic packs because of the price. One last thing before you go. Pretty much everyone was calling Prismatic Eeveelutions Evolving Skies 2.0 pre-release and upon release because it's another set featuring the Eeveelutions and special art. The biggest difference here is that Prismatic Eeveelutions is a specialty set, so on release it was already harder to pick up packs than it was to pick up Evolving Skies. Evolving Skies itself released in August of 2021, which means it's been out for about 4 years now. A booster box is running just under $2,000 and an ETB is about $320. If Prismatic Eeveelutions happens to follow the same trajectory as Evolving Skies, it's safe to say that value is going to skyrocket over the next couple of years, especially considering that Prismatic is a specialty set with no booster box. The most packs you can get is out of an ETB, at least until this September when the Prismatic figure collection drops. It wouldn't exactly be outside the realm of possibility that a Prismatic ETB would at least quadruple over the next couple years. So if you're thinking of picking up packs, maybe seal them, lock them away for a little while, and buy your singles. But what do you think? Would you still try to pull these Eeveelutions or just buy the cards? Let me know in the comments.